Maybe movies. Well, we paused for a moment there.
Hey?
I don't know, it just felt like we would slipped back into that kind of stasis again.
No, are the batteries running down again?
Oh god, I hope not. You're lucky you haven't experienced that, where everything, we just kind of stop. And then when we wake up, it's an undisclosed period of time later. And we don't know. He's still stasis. Kris! You with us?
Yes, yeah. You were freaking me out there, buddy.
Don't do that again. Oh, Jesus. Are you stasis at home? Hello, and thank you for coming back again to spend a few minutes with us here, trapped in delirium.
Hello.
It's Wednesday. Oh, yeah, do you want popcorn?
Popcorn.
I'm good. Do they want popcorn?
Popcorn?
If you do, then we'll just kind of... There you go, have some popcorn.
Right.
Thank you again for stopping by to see us and find out what amazing fun we are having building fantasy movies. Not fantasy movies, but fantasy movies.
I know what you mean.
Yes. In the same way you do a fantasy football team, that's what we mean. You knew that. What am I talking about? We are about to launch into our Act 3 of An American Werewolf in the Dark.
Indeed.
Just a bit of a recap then. So as you'll know, if you've been with us this month, we have taken some of the wonderful elements from An American Werewolf in London, dropped them into the plot and settings for Near Dark with the cast of Near Dark, with the exception of the vampires who are now on the other side, or our side of the pond, if you're in the UK. But we'll come to that. That'll be Friday. We'll get to that.
But we are in... Well, I've assumed the delirium's in the UK.
A Very British Delirium.
It would explain the tea.
It would, yes. Yeah, we don't get Java, do we?
No, we don't.
No.
Ooh, Java.
We've managed to not break the film so far, and we've got to the point where Caleb has had his first night of transformation, and we're now looking at Act 3, and the aftermath of that, leading up to the climax of the film. I was expecting something from you. Episode 69, climax. Nothing?
Oh, you know what?
I'm going to move on. Before I
need to get a cattle prod for you.
Can I have a shocky monkey?
And you turn even that into something!
That's the thing. If you've never seen... Is it Foamy the Squirrel?
Oh, Foamy the Squirrel. Yes, I know Foamy the Squirrel.
Yes, there was one of the episodes that he was trying to get hold of tech support, and it was this guy in India, and he's there 24 hours a day, and if he falls asleep, there's a monkey with a shocky stick that prods him to keep him awake.
I haven't seen that episode, no. Yes, a shocky monkey. Yes, you can have a shocky monkey.
Okay.
Before we get on to Act 3, one very quick shout out, which for today is going to be for another wonderful audio horror channel called Nature's Temper. Most of the reason why I'm mentioning it on this one is because recently he put up one of his videos had 2 short stories, but they were short stories about skinwalkers. Which we mentioned a couple of episodes ago.
Oh, I see. Nice callback.
Do check it out. Again, as always, link will be in the description below. Give it a look, because there is some wonderful stuff on there.
Do check it out, folks.
Shall we?
Let's. I'm really not sure how this third act is going to go. So we left things that Caleb had gone to Alex. She was talking to the hospital on the phone, and on the television he saw the reports about the massacre at the Roadhouse.
Yes.
Is he going to run?
Well, I have an idea.
And if so, where?
Well, this is it. I have an idea which I think will keep to the settings from Near Dark, but also draw in some of the elements from the third act of An American Werewolf in London as well.
Okay, all right.
So yes, I think he does run. I think while she's on the phone, he freaks. While he's freaking out, he notices her car keys, because I'm assuming that, unlike, she's not in London, she can't rely on public transport.
Of course.
She would need a vehicle.
She's in the boonies in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Takes her car. She kind of hears the engine starting, comes out, can't see him, but at least sees
which way he goes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Some of this we're going to have to play it forward a little bit and kind of be a bit liberal with our time, which is kind of how Near Dark is anyway. It's very choppy in terms of its timeline.
Well, it's also a bit like that in American Werewolf. The timeline is very screwy in the third act.
Just to give you an overview of what my idea is, and then we can go back and have a look at any in smaller pieces within that if we want to. What I was going to suggest is, she's obviously seen the stuff on the TV, she tries to call his dad, can't get hold of him, sees the thing about the attack at the roadhouse, and maybe heads there. If we can get him as far as where he goes to try and get the bus in Near Dark. Car runs out of gas. He's got him. He can maybe find. He hasn't got any money on him himself. There may be a couple of bucks in the glove box or something, just enough because as he goes to go and try and find petrol, he spies Sonny and Bud standing outside the cinema that we know is in Hope, where they're playing Aliens. And that allows us to keep the setup. And it also means, because we know the bus station in that town is pretty much opposite the cinema, means we can then roll in the cop who accosts him in Near Dark.
Okay, all right. I think I like where you're going with this.
So we can then put him in as the place of the guy who loses his head at the end of the film.
Okay. All right, because we don't have the bumbling cops like we do in An American Werewolf.
So we can still feed into those elements from An American Werewolf in this. And because we're saying he woke up probably quite early in the day, he's essentially got the most of the day to get there. So even if it is a 5-6 hour drive to get there, he's going to hit there about mid-afternoon. That gives us time for him to have the discussion with all the undead in the cinema, whilst the others are trying to catch up to him.
It does, however, leave his father and Alex in a different state. It does change things.
My thinking...
Couldn't write them out, though, could you?
Well, no, we could. I mean, my thinking on that was we can cheat that they're maybe 2-3 hours behind him. His dad is going to know the area a lot better than Alex does. As long as they get a bead on which direction he went and which interstate he hit, they jump in his dad's car and try and follow him. They don't know exactly where he is, but again, because movie, we can say that they are close enough to where his car broke down when there's something on the news about this rampaging animal in this town, or even they just get passed by the National Guard who've been called out.
If you're going to go down that route, she needs to go, there's my car.
I imagine them getting there around the same time as everything is either just starting to kick off or has kicked off. Yeah.
Alright, so where does the car break down? Is it like just outside of the edge of town, or is it in town?
I would have preferred to say in town, but Caleb knows that he's a danger to people, so you probably want to stay away from people as much as possible. So on the edge of town is probably better. And that probably feeds into better to what you were saying, that it breaks down the edge of town so they can see it in passing.
It's not parked on the side in town, it's right there on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an abandoned car. And so they know, right, this is where he's headed, and of course you can see the lights of the town ahead. Where else is there to go if your car's broken down?
Absolutely.
Yes, okay, alright, that makes sense. That I was a bit worried it was going to go a bit wobbly there for a minute, but no, okay, yeah.
I quite like that, yeah. That's good. The cinema that they're watching, the film, is that still going to be a dirty film?
See you next Wednesday?
Yes.
Well, that was the thing, I was thinking about that earlier, and it would be nice to have it, but the town that he's in is a small Midwestern town. Are they likely to be playing a dirty movie on their high street cinema?
Ooh, yeah.
Don't want it to be too taxi drivery.
No.
I mean, Aliens though, kind of.
It kind of works because you've got all the noise and the screaming and and there's a lot of noise going on. People wouldn't
just a
notice.
nice shine to Cameron as well, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then we get that scene as well with all of the guys from the Roadhouse. They're undead in the cinema as well.
Of course, yeah. So the cinema's like nearly full, just of undead. But I was thinking, like, it might work in the same way. You know that scene in Demons when the first girl is screaming behind the actual projector screen, but because of the film, nobody can hear her screaming. I just imagine when he turns and people start getting eaten up, it would be the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, like that.
I like that.
Interesting enough, sorry, again, a complete aside, it was something, because I was watching it again earlier, I know most of the music and stuff was done by Tangerine Dream for
Near Dark.
Near Dark. One of the tracks that's in it, though, was apparently performed by Jules Holland.
Oh, you are shitting me.
Where?
The track is called Morse Code.
It's not the bar then, is it?
I don't know. I'd have to kind of find the track and listen to it to try and place where it is in the film.
So he's going to leave the building as a werewolf.
Yeah, so that will play out similar, but almost the same as it does in American Werewolf in London. He's in the cinema. He changes, attacks the people there.
Do they come out chasing him though?
The people who are in there kind of run out. That's probably what alerts the sheriff who's in the bus station across the way.
He runs across.
Yeah, call for backup or whatever. I'm going to go and check it out. And as he goes to check it out, comes leaping out, and off with his head.
Yeah,
off with his head. Yeah, okay.
Well, shoot him.
I don't know if he might get a chance to get a shot off, but probably misses.
Right, now here's another thing that occurred to me that's different from American Werewolf in London. This is a small American town. How many dead alleyways are there going to be?
Not really,
so I'm thinking our climax is going to be a bit more extended than it is in American Werewolf in London, because he's going to go on a bit more of a rampage.
I suppose the only way...
Guess you're just going to have to change it to a scenario where he's still pinned to a corner.
If there is time for them to block either end of the town, so you've got Sheriff's Department at one end, and either State Troopers or National Guard at the other end.
It's kind of implied in American Werewolf in London that, it's Alex's actions that give the cops the opportunity to do what they do. I don't necessarily think it should be Alex. It could either be Alex or his dad. Mm-hmm. But them confronting him might be what makes the werewolf pause in its rampage.
Mm.
We have actually got a number of people here that could cause him pause. I mean, again, he loves his sister, he loves his dad.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. I'm afraid of losing the poignancy of the end. There needs to be a poignancy to it. Just him being shot down by the cops or whatever, it's going to be no good.
Oh, how about this then? So it can be similar to how we do it in American Werewolf in London. The cops stop anybody else from going out there, and then we can either say that Alex gets away from them, or more likely his sister, because she's small enough to kind of pull away from them, get under the barriers,
an innocent
and run
child
out.
That would make...
Oh, innocence, yes. Yes, yeah, there we go. We're going somewhere. Yes. We're finding some layers. Let's peel them
That
back.
makes the werewolf go...
That was a key word there. You used the keyword innocence there. So
Yep.
Innocence?
Yep.
Yes.
That's the word of the day.
We needed something to give this ending some real weight, and you found it. Thank you.
The word of the day on episode 69 is innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Innocence.
Oh, you've on two, aren't you? Didn't you get one before? I'm sure you've had one already this month.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
Do you want me to still put one on?
Of course. You should have as many as you had.
Oh, yes, we need to be able to see what your full score is.
So that works. And then you've got Alex and Dad being held back by the police. Sarah breaks through.
This is actually, I like it, because his dad went on this crusade to find him, to look after him. Alex has done all of these things to be that part to him, but it's the unacknowledged part of his life, because Sarah plays a slightly less role in this version, and then her at the end being the thing that bursts through and puts a pause in his actions. I like it.
I always imagine the sister being the last strain of hope for
some kind of redemption for him. Yeah.
Yeah, it creates a trinity of...
He's almost lost it, but not entirely.
It sort of creates a trinity of positive influences, doesn't it?
Nice. It's quite a nice... It's almost like a Mexican standoff, isn't it? Because you've got them in the middle of the street, everyone's kind of scattered about, cops at either end with all the lights and that, and he's kind of confused. That focal point. I can just imagine it almost like a drone shot of that, them in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Boxed in at either end.
I'm imagining that the wolf is like pacing about and basically being difficult to shoot, moving around a lot. And it's the girl that makes it go still.
Yeah. And no one would dare to go with the child because they're too scared of the werewolf, I guess.
There's almost a...
You have the dad go, "No, my baby!" And then the police are like, "No."
There's almost... it's got an almost Tiananmen Square feel about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Huh? Strange call out, but I understand what you're saying.
The tanks in Tiananmen Square in the early 90s?
Oh, yeah.
In front of the tank.
Of course, 1990, the students standing against the tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she strides out into the street, and it's a bit like... So in this point, it's going to kind of mirror the ending of An American Werewolf. Well, she
it's going to turn into a more realistic version of Monsters, Inc. I think this is basically what the ending is. It's just a realistic version of Monsters Inc.
She's just another version of Boo.
Kitty!
Kitty! It'll be this moment when the werewolf goes really, really still, and it's like it's listening to her or anything like that. And then just as she starts to get a bit close, the lip curls, the haunches tense, and somebody fires.
Maybe as it goes to leave for her, she ducks. And then they just go over the top. Cut it to
Oh,
pieces.
yeah, that's even better. A volley of fires from both ends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get... And then that's when people start to rush forward. Alex and his dad can come forward.
Yeah.
And by the time we get there, it's just Caleb's body on the street.
With Sarah sobbing over him.
And wow, and that's it. And that's
it. We've done it. We managed not to break it. I didn't think we were definitely going to break it, but it was like, this could get wobbly in the third act.
Well, this is quite the milestone, guys.
I must admit, it wasn't really till I kind of... It was just rewatching it earlier and just remembering, oh, well, there is a town and there is a cinema, and and we know that they're within a day's drive away. We could, they're not in the same order as they appear in Near Dark, but we can still we know that they're in canon within that film. So if we can include it in there, and as I said, it serves as a reasonable foil for the setup at the end of An American Werewolf in London. So
it's a different movie. Do I like it as much as An American Werewolf in London? I don't know, but it works.
Yes,
it functions as a film. It definitely does.
Glad you approve.
So now we need to turn our attention to about 5 years earlier on the other side of the pond.
Oh yes, indeed.
And we will have a look at how things go down near London.
Near London.
Get that in there.
Near London.
Nice.
It is a good title. I do like it.
Not as good as An American Werewolf in the Dark, but brilliant. So we have made one of our 2 films.
Just one.
We are halfway there to having 2 films to then, which at the end of the month we can try and pick and choose which one will be our maybe movie for the month. We hope you've enjoyed this today, and again, as always, if you do like what we do here, please do like, share, subscribe, and all the other stuff that we are kind of forced to tell you to do. And if you do enjoy what we do, please do come back. And we will be here on Friday with Act 1 of Near London. Until then, have a good end of the week.
As always, guys, take care of yourselves. And don't forget, we do actually have a Patreon. And if you want, you could buy us a coffee. But anyway, TTFN, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Ba 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 ba.